employed, but he wasn't feeling fulfilled. So naturally I asked him that question, like, what would you do if you could do anything at all in the world? Like, what would you do? And he literally said that he couldn't answer the question, that it brought him a lot of anxiety. And this got me thinking, because obviously I talk a lot about permission. I believe that we have to give ourselves permission, right? That we have to give ourselves permission to be able to do the thing that's scary. But how do we give ourselves permission that's actually nourished and authentic? During a recent conversation that I had with Dr. Lucy Fielding in my Sexy Authors podcast, shameless plug, we talked about rest and pleasure and dreaming. And one of the pieces that I remembered during that conversation was trauma. When we are exposed to recurrent, consistent, persistent trauma, we lose our ability to dream, to imagine, to believe, to think big. When we are in the throes of fight or flight, even for some people that strive for perfectionism, that's actually a symptom of trauma. Perfectionism keeps you stuck in fight or flight mode. It keeps you in basically flight mode, right? Head down, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Fear. And then if you're, in survival mode, like you can't pay the bills, you can't put food on your table, or you're worried about that, like, of course, you're in crisis. You are in the throes of fight or flight. So giving someone who's in the throes of fight or flight at any level at any point on the spectrum, whether it's perfectionism from old trauma or current situational trauma, it's not really good advice to say, well, you just have to give yourself permission. So I've been thinking about that a lot as I, continue to work with my clients. And one of the things that does help is learning how to rest and learning how to be in pleasure. And again, that's very, very difficult if you're in a crisis. However, if you're that person that's stuck in perfectionism mode, that permission to rest and to experience pleasure can be the difference between being able to believe, dream, think about your wildest dreams, sky's the limit, versus the person that can't, the person that is stuck. And so when we work together, we work to get you out of survival mode, hopefully, so that you can start to incorporate rest and pleasure in that journey that you're on, as much as you can, with the hopes that one day your ability to dream will return.